Okay, here we have my isolation transformer. I bought this a couple of years ago, and I haven't actually used it yet. I will be using it in the next couple of weeks because I got some amplifiers that I have to work on. The transformer here is a Hammond 169E. If you look up the spec sheet for this is a dedicated isolation transformer. It's capable of delivering 250 volt amps, so good beefy transformer. The great thing about this isolation transformer is that it has multiple taps, and I believe it goes from 90 to 140 volts, which is great because not only is it an isolation transformer, but it's also a variac as well. It's got a switch on the front. But there's something about this particular build that renders it quite dangerous. And I'm going to show you something because this just goes to show that a lot of people really don't understand what an isolation transformer is and what it's supposed to do. Let's look at the way he's put this together here. So everything looks good. I like the way it's built. So do you like the way it's built? Hey, do you like it? Come on now. I'm trying to show the people the isolation transformer. Have you been eating something? What have you been eating? Did you find the treat bag again? Okay, you go. Let's get out of the way now. Okay. Come on now. Okay, so if we look carefully here, you're going to notice on the primary side, everything looks fine. The case is grounded. There's nothing wrong with that. The part of this that is concerning is the ground that goes from the case to the ground of the receptacle, because what that means is that when you plug your device under test into this, basically your neutral is now going to be earth ground referenced back in the breaker panel. So this actually build here offers no isolation whatsoever. So what needs to happen, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually remove this. Having the case grounded in the primary, there's nothing wrong with that. But the device under test that you plug in here, the whole point of this is to isolate it from the mains over here. So what you want is I'm going to remove this wire here, and then not only will I have a nice isolation transformer, but also have a great variac too, which is great when you're working on amplifiers like that, or like that, or like that, or like that. So, you know, especially when you're working on amplifiers like that, there's, you know, all kinds of dangers in those things. Right, Zoe? Okay. Tired? Yeah. Good girl. So today I'm gonna try and explain isolation transformers right now. There's a lot of confusion on this topic, especially getting the two types mixed up. There are two types of isolation transformers, unfortunately. They're both called isolation transformers. The first time is the medical grade. Now, these are used in hospitals, and the main purpose for these are to isolate the equipment from electrical noise and power surges and those sorts of things. In a hospital, there's a lot of equipment that's really, really sensitive. You know, you're dealing with the body, and the body has, you know, very small electrical signals. So any type of noise you would have on a on a line would would affect that equipment in a negative way. The type that we're interested in is called the tech grade isolation transformer, and its main purpose is to isolate you from the mains power, and they also can supply your equipment with sufficient current. Let's have a look at what exactly that is. It's basically a one-to-one transformer. On the primary side, the metal chassis of the isolation transformer may be, if this transformer is in a metal case, it may be grounded, which is fine. But the output, the secondary side, is basically just floating. There's no earth-ground reference. Because the issue with, let's say you're using an oscilloscope, and let's say you're working on a guitar amp, the real issue is with the primary side of the power supply before it hits the power transformer for the power supply. All of this stuff in here is really dangerous. So, you go poking around in there. If you if you're plugged into a regular outlet, you're you go poking around in here. You touch the hot side in here, while your body is a direct path to ground. So yeah, anything in here, that is the real concern. If you're not plugged into an isolation transformer, if you go poking around on the secondary side, you can touch anything here, you'll still get a shock, but it'll be a capacitive type of shock. You'll charge your body up, and it's still going to hurt, but it's not going to be lethal, because remember, electrons, they want to flow in the circuit, and they want to take the easiest route possible. And you touch something in here, well, what's the point of going through my finger to ground? Why would they go that way? They want to go this way. They want to go around in a circle, right? So they really have no reason to go through your body. Now, if you stick one hand here and another hand here, then that's a different thing. You've just completed a circuit through your body, and you will get a shock. But and then that's where the whole one hand in your pocket rule comes from, and that comes from this part of the equipment here, the secondary side. As long as you're only poking around with one hand in there, then you should be okay. But again, this is the real danger right here, and that's why we want to isolate ourselves from the mains, which is over here. So this is, if we can imagine this as being our isolation transformer, all it is basically it just you can see that there's no earth ground reference here when you plug your plug in. So it makes the primary side, so I can actually touch the hot here when I'm plugged into the isolation transformer, and there's no reason for the electricity to want to go through my finger into the ground, because the only thing the power wants to do is go through here and come back. It doesn't want to go through you. I mean, again, you still will get a shock, a capacitive type of a shock, but it won't be a lethal type thing. I'm trying to figure out if there's anything that I'm missing here. Well, we're going to take a look at an isolation transformer right now that I bought off Kijiji, actually. I've actually got this thing on now. I'm just kind of going through the taps here. So this tap, we've got, let's see, DC volt, AC, 100 volts. 100 volts. Next tap, 110. 120. That's probably supposed to be 130. The last one, well, maybe not. Maybe not. Could be wrong. Last one I believe was 127. This is 133. Last tap is 144. And the last one here seems to be reading 4 volts. Maybe that's for a filament. I don't know what you'd use 4 volts AC for, but anyhow, those are all the taps that come on that Hammond 169E isolation transformer. Good unit, but of course, as I was saying, I have to modify this to make it an actual isolation transformer by unplug this before I go sticking my hands in here. Gotta remove this wire right here and we'll be good. So are you helping? You a good helper? Okay, you want to go back upstairs now? Let's go back upstairs. Let's go. Oh, good girl. Oh, gotta turn the lights off.